New York Knicks be the best defense in all of the 2024 NBA playoffs? That's what me and Dariel are here to break down as the New York Knicks just defeated the Orlando Magic 98-74, and that was the lowest amount of points that anyone has scored on the New York Knicks in 12 years. This is a historic mark by the Knicks. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris and Dariel here, and we're going to break this thing down because we could be seeing the key to what makes the Knicks a true playoff contender, potentially getting as far as the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe a little farther. So let's talk about it, Dariel. What do you think tonight?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of takeaways from tonight's game. Jalen Brunson being back in the lineup. That's chef's kiss. That's Knicks fans. That's all we wanted to see. He had a good game. Josh Hart, the heart and soul of the New York Knicks, man, had a great game as well. Had a lot of key moments in the game. I think Josh Hart might be one of the most important players in the team, man. He just has these moments in the game where it's like you can tell that the energy is picking up. He had a putback dunk. He has an and one. He has a key 3-point play. Like, Josh Hart is just the more and more I see him play, the more and more I'm impressed with like what he's able to bring to the team. Our guy Precious, I do have some words regarding Precious, but I'll save that for a little bit later in the video. But yeah, those are some of my takeaways from the game. Chris, what about you? What did you see from tonight's game?
I mean, like you, I saw the amazing play by Josh Hart. The way he starts off the game, he hits that three, kind of rattles in and out, but he gets it down, hits a layup, feeds Isaiah Hartenstein for an end one. The Knicks quickly took a lead in this game. And at that point, it kind of felt like the Knicks had all the momentum already just minutes in. But really, they never let go of the momentum. As far as this game went, it is so hard to hold a team to 74 points in this NBA. The only way that's possible is not only elite defense, but good coaching, which to a degree, except for one thing Tibbs had tonight. He outcoached, I want to say, Jamal Mosley. But also, they kept the momentum. There was never a moment where it felt like the Magic had momentum outside of a little run when they got within like 5 points, and then the Knicks just instantly took that away from them. This was just a great game by the Knicks. They took momentum well, and they just controlled this game from minute 1 to minute 48.
Yo, so when the game started, I don't know if this was me maybe just like overhyping it, but I felt like there was a little bit more energy into tonight's game. So I think they were 0-3 against the Magic going into today's game. And I think, and especially since the Magic are on the 4th seed, we're in the 5th seed, I think the Knicks went into this game saying like, yo, we need to like kind of send a message letting them know that like, okay, you got the first 3 games, but like, okay, now it's like crunch time coming down to the season. We might actually see you in the first round of the playoffs. Like, let's just show you exactly who we are, even though we still have a lot of our players out. Like, the intensity was up. The defensive intensity was up to the beginning of the game. I saw Isaiah Hartenstein. A lot of the players were just like having their hands on a lot of the balls and just scrappy. And that's something I just took away from the since opening tip. Can I get into my Precious rant?
You absolutely can. I don't really have anything else to say on that topic, so go for it.
Yo, Precious, you are so frustrating, my guy. You are incredibly frustrating. There are at times where he looks like, oh man, this guy is actually a good basketball player. This guy actually has potential. And then he has times where tonight he's looking like a chicken running around with his head cut off, bro. He's literally dribbling into like a wall. He's literally like fumbling the basketball. He's literally like some of the shots that he's taking are air balls. And then he has some shots where he's converting his 3-point plays. I'm like, yo, this guy is so up and down. It's so frustrating. Like prior to tonight's game, I would have to say for the last few games, I just been very content with what I'm seeing from Precious. He was being aggressive, but he was being aggressive in the right sort of way. Because like if you're literally just being aggressive just to be aggressive, that's not helping anybody out. But Precious was being aggressive in a way of like helping his teammates out. Well, like, oh, we need a bucket. Okay, let me put my head down and actually try and make something out of nothing. And then tonight, there are moments where he's like literally just like dribbling into a wall and then he's stuck because he picked up his dribble and then he's shooting air balls and then he's turning the ball over. And I'm like, yo, who are you? Like, you're so frustrating. Like the ceiling for you is like, it goes from like, okay, his ceiling is really high. And then the ceiling, like tonight's game, it goes from like super high to super low. I'm like, yo, this guy is so frustrating, man. So even though I just kind of dogged Precious Achiuwa, I do want to talk about his stats. He ended up the game with 15 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 of 16 from the field, and 2 of 4 from 3-point. But man, I'm old school. I'm more of an eye test kind of guy. And from what I'm seeing from Precious Achiuwa, ever since the trade, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. When Julius Randle comes back, his minutes are going to be obviously limited. I think that's a good thing. But like when Randle goes to the bench, Precious is going to take those minutes. Do I trust him? Do I trust him to be a confident player on the floor? I'm not even sure, man. And it's the playoffs, and the intensity ramps up, and the defense ramps up. I don't know what the hell I'm going to get from Precious, what we're going to get from Precious Achiuwa. So that's my Precious rant. I've been wanting to say that since like the 9-minute mark from the first quarter. That's how bad it was. But whatever.
Yeah, so I'm going to completely disagree. I think Precious had a great game tonight. Like, yeah, 6 for 16 when you have 15 points. No, it's not the market of efficiency. I've said it before on this channel. I'll say it again. I truly do believe that if you shoot more times than points you score, that's not the market of a good game. But at the same time, yeah, he turns the ball over 3 times. He also gets 5 blocks, 2 steals, pulls down 14 rebounds, gets more assists than turnovers, which is something we don't see from Julius Randle every night. And I'm a huge Julius Randle supporter.
Facts.
But there's a reason why I had the highest plus minus on the court tonight. I mean, again, I didn't play professional basketball, so your eye test is definitely more experienced than mine in that sense. But I liked what I saw from Precious. I think he played a good brand of basketball tonight. He took on 39 minutes, guarded the best player on the Orlando Magic, or the second best. I know some people say Franz, some say Paulo. I don't watch enough Magic to say who I genuinely think is better. I'd go with Paulo, but also I'm just following what the media tells me to do with that one. But I'm being honest.
I agree with you. I would say Paulo because of the media. So
yeah, like he gets pushed to us because he's the first overall pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought Precious guarded him really well tonight, and I liked the game that I saw out of him. I don't want him to get benched come the playoffs. I mean, I don't want him starting. I just don't want him to be without minutes. I think we're starting to see a Knicks rotation that is based off of giving so much effort and really everyone putting in dirty work. I mean, Brunson and Josh Hart are ending up on the floor 5,000 times. Precious Achiuwa is running through people. Isaiah Hartenstein's very physical. And then Jericho Sims, his entire game is that he's physical. And then Deuce McBride, who's a bulldog, who also on a separate note, tremendous game.
The deuce is loose, baby.
Not to trail it off, but Deuce McBride, I'm just looking at his stats and from the way he played tonight. When we look at things, if you had to tell me right now to pick a rotation for the playoffs, I want both Deuce McBride and Precious Achiuwa in there. Definitely over Alec Burks. That's for sure. Burks only played 5 minutes tonight, I think.
Yeah.
His poor play is going to get him benched, and oh well.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. That whole Alec Burks thing is looking worse and worse as the days go by. But yo, man, I'm staying with my Precious rant. Like, yeah, he might have had a good game tonight, but from what I saw, he's just like super flip-floppy, bro. Like it's just not confident. He's like throwing the ball against the glass, and it's a shot attempt, but it's like you're just throwing the ball up to get a foul called, and then you start complaining to the refs. There's no sort of like substance to it. It's like you're literally not trying to get an and one and make a good play. You're literally just trying to throw the ball up so the ref can call a foul. And it's like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, I just didn't like what I saw from Precious. From an overall view of things, I get it. The stat sheet, 16 points, 15, whatever it was, cool. But I didn't like what I saw from Precious tonight. What you said, as far as like a playoff rotation or the rotation that Tibbs is going to trust in the playoffs, I definitely want Deuce more and more the opposite of Alec Burks. The more and more I see a Deuce, the more and more I'm getting confidence in him. I'm like, yo, maybe he actually could do the backup point guard in the playoffs when Brunson goes to the bench. Precious, I'm still iffy about. Randle's going to come back. Precious is going to be the backup to Randle. And like I said earlier, I don't know if I trust him, man. And on top of that, the competition in the playoffs, it's not regular season anymore. You're going up against a better talent in the NBA. We might see the Orlando Magic. So tonight, they might have came into the game. You know, we got the first 3 games. We don't necessarily need to win this, which is why maybe the Knicks were able to blow them out. So I know there's a lot of excuses that I'm coming up with, but That's just the thoughts that are running through my head.
I'm definitely on the Precious Achua hype train. I'm going to stay on it, and that's just where I'm at. But honestly, I do want to kind of talk about the rotation since you brought it up. Like, I just couldn't get my mind off of it. Like, because we are going to have to integrate back both Julius Randle and OG Anunoby, who are both starters. Julius is an all-star and an all-NBA level player, and OG is obviously a starter on this team, like no doubt about it. We know what the starting lineup is in the playoffs. It's Brunson, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randle, Hartenstein. Even if Mitch comes back, you can't expect him to start at this rate. He's going to have missed too much time. He's not going to be in the best shape possible. I say you give him 20 minutes tonight, Hartenstein 28, everyone goes home happy. The question is, we know it's a Tibbs nine-man rotation, and we know that that ninth man is probably going to get somewhere between like 7 to 13 minutes a night over an average. So like around 10 minutes a night average. Who would you want to see come off the bench? I'm not even sure, which is kind of why I'm asking you instead of just going with something here. Who do you want to see? Who are the four Knicks that you want to see? Because, like, let's be realistic here. Tibbs isn't going a 10-man rotation.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely. He's not doing it now.
Yeah, absolutely not. Okay, so if we're talking playoff rotation and if we're talking everybody back, obviously, and you said, which I think is a good point, that Isaiah Hartenstein is going to stay as a starting big because Mitchell Robinson is going to have to ramp up his stamina, conditioning, and all that stuff. So he's probably not going to start in the playoffs. So I would want Mitch coming off the bench. That's one. I want Bogdanovich coming off the bench. That's two. I would throw Deuce in there. That's three. And then the players that we have remaining for that last fourth spot for a nine-man rotation, we're looking at Alec Burks, we're looking at Jericho Sims, we're looking at Precious Achua. Am I missing anybody?
Out of Burks, Sims, Achua, no, you're really not at this point because the Knicks are essentially running an eight-man rotation right now. So it's really one or two people are going to have to fall out of the rotation at most.
I'm going between Jericho Sims and Precious Achua. Alec Burks for me, I never really liked. But Precious and Jericho to me, they're both the same, bro. They're just like they can't catch a ball, they can't finish plays. It's like Precious is a little better, so I guess I would lean towards Precious.
I mean, I'd say the reason that Precious is the easy answer in this situation,
Yeah,
he can hit a mid range or a three-point shot.
I like Jericho, man. I like how athletic he is, bro. But he disappoints me. He disappoints me more than Precious. So in that mind frame, I would take Precious as the last fourth spot for a nine-man rotation.
I would probably give the exact same rotation. Not too long ago, I would have debated between Burks and Deuce McBride, and I've mentioned it before. The poll that I did, essentially asking who do you want to see get bounced from the rotation come playoffs out of Burks, Deuce, Precious.
Deuce, you made it, baby. You made it.
Bogey, yeah, facts. And Bogey, I think it's still around 92% of Knicks Digest voters, or just people whoever voted on the channel, whether they follow us, subscribe to us, or don't. 92% said Alec Burks. I think we've all kind of agreed that unfortunately, this Alec Burks portion of the trade didn't work out, and that's not to say that this trade is like a massive loss for the Knicks.
I mean, they still have games left. They have like 15 games left, so he can still, come on strong,
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And also, it's like part of the reason we did this trade was to get a contract like Bogdanovich's so we could trade for a star player in the near future using that team option that we're going to accept for Bogey. So at the end of the day, before we kind of go and I don't just mean we, me, and you, I mean the entire Knicks fan base go and sound some massive alarm like, oh no, we just completely screwed up. We gave up Quentin Grimes for two old guys who are trash. As you said, absolutely. We got like 15 games left. Like 20, almost 20 games. We have 19 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Like, we're fine. And the main reason for this trade that was outside of just giving the Knicks more shooting, which to a degree has come through, is just the fact that we needed a contract like Bogdanovich is if we can make a trade so we don't have to give up a valued role player that we like on this team. And not to say we don't like Bogdanovich, but we like the core of this team. And I think it's fair to say 34-year-old Bojan Bogdanovich is not exactly in that core group of Knicks players. For instance, Brunson, Randle, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart. Like those four, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, like the core of this team that makes it what it is. Bogdanovich is a nice addition, but he's not exactly some like, I mean, even though there's no one really who's been on the Knicks that long outside of Mitch, like long-standing member of a player who has made the Knicks what they've been. All right, so something that I don't really talk about on Knicks Digest that much is that I'll also sometimes live tweet for the Twitter account Let's Talk Knicks, little plug in there for them. But I was doing that tonight, and something that I did mention is that there was no need for Tom Thibodeau to bring back Jalen Brunson into the game with 5 minutes left. Brunson hit a nice shot and went to the floor to give the Knicks 20 points as he literally crashed into the ground. We don't need to be doing that, Tibbs. Outside of that, Brunson only played 29 minutes, so that's a good sign. Good job by Tibbs that way. But he kept the guys in too long. Subbing Brunson back in, I did not like. Sounds like we know the drill. Jalen Brunson is the GOAT. We know that. Great game by the Knicks tonight. It'll be really exciting to see if the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks face off in the playoffs. I personally think the Knicks would win.
I mean, of course, Knicks.
There we go.
Of course, I didn't know I had to say it.
I just want the point to see if you get it. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Knicks Digest. As you know, as Dariel might say, Taj Gibson for president, Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. Go Knicks. Good night, y'all. Peace.
We out.